Throughout the history of Desperate Housewives, there are plenty of shocking, traumatic, gripping, terrifying, and series-changing episodes that truly left you on the edge of your seat throughout the entire episode. From the thrilling 7th episode of Season 3 in Bang that saw Lynette and others be held hostage in a grocery store, to the 17th episode of the 4th season that saw Catherine's dark past come back to haunt her, and who could forget Paul's calculated plan to start a riot in the 10th episode of Season 7 that left Susan hospitalized. However, who could forget the 9th episode of Season 4, Something's Coming, as this episode resulted in altering many storylines throughout Desperate Housewives, making it the most tragic episode in the series. Before we get started, if you love film and television analysis, be sure to click that subscribe button and click that bell to get notifications on all upcoming film and television analysis. Just like all episodes of Desperate Housewives begin, we begin with the narration of Mary Alice. However, this narration is different, as Mary Alice tells us that it was supposed to be a beautiful day, which instantly tells us that something bad is going to happen. And we soon realize what Mary Alice is talking about, as we see a tornado coming towards the beautiful suburbs of Wisteria Lane that will result in unbelievable destruction, as Mary Alice says. Mary Alice also tells us that out of the 4 main characters in the series, Gabby, Bree, Lynette, and Susan, that one of them will lose a husband and that all of them will lose a friend as a result of the storm. So right away, this episode begins leaving you on the edge of your seat by telling us that 2 people are going to die. Throughout the first half of the episode, there isn't really many interesting storylines, as we tend to bounce around from the storylines of Gabby and Carlos moving away to cover up their incident involving Gabby's current husband and Mayor Victor Lang, Adam's secret lover Sylvia returning to Wisteria Lane, and Susan discovering that her husband Mike has a serious drug problem. But it's the last 20 minutes of the episode is where things really take off, as we can see the wind and the tornado itself has clearly picked up, and so have the storylines. As we watch Gabby and Edie fight over Carlos's documents containing his money in overseas accounts, Bree spills the details of Adam's affair with Sylvia while hiding from the storm, and Lynette and Mrs. McCluskey argue over Ida's cat. But just before the storm had hit the streets of Wisteria Lane, Lynette and Mrs. McCluskey were forced to retreat to Lynette's house after chasing Ida's cat, Toby, where we watched the 2 hide in the bathtub with a mattress over top of them acting as a safety blanket. But the most startling side plot of this episode is the conflict between Carlos and Victor. As to Carlos's surprise, Victor is waiting for him with a gun inside his home. And if we remember in the beginning of the episode, Mary Alice said that one of the women will lose a husband. So instantly here, we assume that Carlos is the one who is going to die, as Victor here is seeking revenge after Gabby and Carlos tried to cover up his attack. A fight ensues and Carlos and Victor continue their fight outside. We watch as a fence post stabs Victor in the back, ultimately killing Victor, and a piece of debris from the tornado hits Carlos in the eye, which we later discover in the next episode has blinded Carlos for a lengthy period of time. Once the storm had settled, we can see the aftermath of what it had done to Wisteria Lane with the large amounts of damage that it had done to the once perfect street. Whether it's the giant holes in the Van de Kamp home or the insane amount of damage that it had filled in the street. But the most amount of damage that we see is clearly to the home of Mrs. McCluskey, as we can see that the entire home has been ripped to shreds by the tornado, as it was at her home where Tom, Ida, and all of the Scavo children were hiding out, leaving Lynette in a state of fear, shock, and devastation, as she can't help but wonder what is the current state of her family as she looks at the ripped apart home. The episode ends on a cliffhanger with Lynette running to try and save her family. And while we already knew that Victor had died, we also think here that Tom is going to die as well. The set design for this episode and the next episode, Welcome to Kanagawa, shows the great detail the crew and set put into these episodes, as it really makes you feel the impact of what has happened to these characters and their lives. In the following episode, Lynette learns about the fate of her family, as thankfully we watch as everyone makes it out alive, as it's discovered that Ida is the friend who passed away, just like what Mary Alice said in the beginning of the episode. Desperate Housewives is no stranger when it comes to gripping episodes. As for me, this one always sticks out due to the sheer brutality and realism that it displays, as these characters and their lives were forever changed in a matter of minutes thanks to that tornado, making it clearly the series' most tragic episode of all time. What are your thoughts about this episode? Do you agree with the episode of Something's Coming being the series' most tragic episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. For more film and television analysis and Desperate Housewives content, be sure to keep it locked here, right here on this channel.